神羅転生
Yo, what's going on everyone, it is the Mist again and welcome back to a new video on the channel today. So, episode 55 of the Boruto series has just been released, and man, it was actually a really solid episode. I don't care what anyone says, this episode was actually really good, and it did a really good job at, furthering this plot and getting us deeper into, this arc, and a lot of stuff happened, and, a lot of stuff. So yeah, welcome back to the channel, and of course, let's get straight into the review. So like I said, this episode was really good. And now why do I say that? Well, there were certain things that it just did extremely well. For example, Dashiki's character was handled really well. We got to see an actual interaction between him and Momoshiki, and the type of dynamic that they share. And we got to see character development for Boruto, and, we got to see him stay true to his character and not, he actually put away the ninja technology for a second, and that was really important. That is really super important, actually. To see Boruto actually, look at the ninja technology and actually take it off his wrist so he can try to further himself, with his own strength. That is very important, and I felt like that was very much needed because that actually suits his character, People try to say Boruto's like a brat that has everything, and he needs to be pegged down a bit, but the thing about Boruto is that he doesn't need to be pegged down by Sasuke. He doesn't need to have his ass kicked, because Boruto, if anything, Boruto doesn't understand how strong he really is. And he's actually a very modest character, and that's one of the good things about him, and that's kind of what the Narutards like to try to use against him, saying, but he's not modest and all this, but he really is. But the Narutards don't watch the series, so how would they know? But anyways, I like to bash Narutards anytime I can, because they just whatever. But the episode was great because, like I said, it did certain things really well. For example, the Momoshiki and Dashiki development. Of course, the Boruto development, get to see more of his actual character, and of course we got to see Killer Bee versus Momoshiki and Kinshiki. Well, it wasn't very much of a battle, but it was just more of, we got to see more of that battle, if that makes any sense. So we got to see them arrive to Killer Bee, and then Killer Bee gets his ass kicked, and I like the way that they actually expanded that scene, it was done very well, especially with the interaction between the Eight Tails and Bee himself. I feel like they are really taking good, listen, they're doing a really good job at expanding the scenes in this arc, because in the movie nothing was really expanded. Well, I mean, what am I trying to say? In the movie they had all these awesome scenes, but they couldn't really expand upon them, and they had to just use certain aspects. And with the series, that in this arc they're really expanding upon everything. Every single scene we get to see it expanded upon, and that is very much good for the series, and it's a lot more that we haven't seen. And one of the reasons I like this episode so much and feel like it's like a solid 8 out of 10 is because we do get to see a lot more expansion from what we saw in the movie, and it did it in a really good way. We also get to see Boruto training in this episode, and now this is, of course, goes into his character development with him thinking, I don't want to use this ninja technology all the time, because if I use this, I'm gonna be impressing people, but it's not me, it's not my strength, so what's the point? And that's kind of what was persuaded to us through that. Another cool thing that we got to see in this episode was actually Konohamaru interacting with Sasuke, and Sasuke actually thanking Konohamaru for being a good teacher to Sarada. Now, I like to see that type of thing, just minor things like that can make an episode great, and that's one thing that the Boruto series really needs props for, just the interactions between characters. Now, let's go more into detail on these specific scenes that I've just discussed, because I feel like those are pretty much the most important things of the episode that need to be discussed anyways. For example, let's talk about Dashiki and Momoshiki, because that scene was really good, and it gives us a bit more of an insight into, you know, Yoroshiki's character, because, like I said, in one of my last videos, I feel like Yoroshiki is going to betray Momoshiki, and it seems as if something along those lines is 100% going to happen. Now, why do I say this? Just his attitude. Yoroshiki's attitude towards Momoshiki, it's almost as if he's, I don't know how to explain this, like, you know, the type of character that shows a fake type of respect towards their elder, but then, you know, goes behind the back of them and, you know, backstabs them. And that's the type of character, that's the type of vibe that I'm getting off of the character of Yoroshiki, because he, after seeing him, it must have been like years that they haven't seen each other, he goes to Momoshiki and says, hello, Momoshiki senpai, and then, you know, he makes fun of Momoshiki a little bit, and then Momoshiki literally awakens his Byakugan, well not awakens, but, you know, activates it, and then looks at Yoroshiki in anger. So the relationship and dynamic between these two is definitely not trustworthy. They don't have a trust with each other, they aren't loyal to one another. It's more of, you're in my clan, and you're strong, so I'm gonna benefit from the UCU, and you're gonna do what I say, okay, Yoroshiki? And of course, Yoroshiki, you know, we get to see a solo scene with him talking about Momoshiki, saying, you know, actually calling him Momo, so that's pretty funny. He actually, you know, this is really important, actually, for him to actually say that to him, because Momoshiki is his elder, or something along those lines, you know, he addressed him as senpai, so for him to go behind his back and abbreviate his name is kind of disrespectful, like, I suppose. And it's just starting to show the true nature of Yoroshiki, and, you know, what type of character he actually is. And now that's why I am so interested in him, because what is going to happen with his character? I mean, what is he going to do? It's just very interesting, and the way they handled him in this episode was very good. Another thing about Yoroshiki is his intelligence. He seems to be a character that is good at obtaining information, apparently. That's what we see throughout this episode. He's used as a kind of tool, a plot tool to tell Momoshiki and Yoroshiki, Momoshiki and Kinshiki, you know, information about the Jinchuriki and the, Jinchuriki, the tailed beasts, and all that type of thing. And that was very interesting to see, because A, this means that he's a plot device, and B, it means that he's intelligent, so that equals to him dying at some point. I'm joking, probably, but probably not, whatever, we don't know, but, you know, there's definitely going to be an awesome fight with him. He's an intelligent character, so it's going to be cool to see whoever he faces. Now, Killer B, it was cool to see him, obviously. It seems as if, no, I got a lot of comments about this a couple weeks ago when I made a video where I said Killer B died. I didn't know this, but apparently he survives. So, I'm assuming that what Killer B has done is actually, you know, what he did against Sasuke, where he actually uses a, what is it called? Substitution jutsu, okay? And he is, you know, safe somewhere, you know? So that is intelligent on Killer B's part. Obviously, I don't know if this is true yet. We'll just have to wait and see, but it's most likely going to be true. And now, in the next episode, we actually are going to be focusing on the Chunin exams, and I'll discuss that a bit more later, but for now, let's talk about Boruto, because I really respect the way that they handled his character in this episode. You know, like I said, with him putting down the ninja technology, it's very significant, because we didn't get to see that in the movie, and that specific aspect of this arc is so important, because a lot of people have a bad attitude towards Boruto because of the movie, you know, him being a cheater. Now, this episode truly shows the true nature of Boruto and what he's really like, and it essentially just puts away all of the kinda, you know, hate towards him for being a cheater, someone who gets everything given to him, he doesn't try. You know, Boruto really does want to achieve strength, and he wants to do it himself. However, he's gotten to a point where he feels as if he must use this in order to impress his father. He needs the acknowledgement of his father so desperately that he has to rely on this. And that is significant, because it just goes to show how much he actually cares about Naruto, and how little Naruto is there for him. You know, he has to go to this length in order to get acknowledgement by Naruto, so it's very important. Another cool thing in this episode was actually seeing Iwabe and Shikadai, and, you know, Denki and Middle Lee, and, you know, Sumire. We got to see all the side characters, all the, you know, the main side characters at least. and their teams, because they are obviously preparing for the Chunin exams, and it's all very, very exciting. Now, I just discussed those Genin, but another big thing in this episode was actually seeing Shinki and the other Sand Genin. Now, this is really cool, and it was a really cool moment, because, yeah, Shinki is pretty badass. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Shinki. I don't care about him as much as, you know, a lot of people do for some reason. A lot of people seem to, you know, love him for some reason. I don't understand the appeal, but, you know, he is definitely a badass, and that can be seen in this episode. You know, he's saying, I don't care about the other villagers, I just want to achieve, I just want to, you know, make our village proud, and we are going to win, and that is pretty badass, and he seems like a character not to be messed around with, and that can especially be backed up in the episode when Temari is talking to Team 10 and saying, you know, there is a Sand Genin, his name is Shinki, and you guys, well, you don't stand a damn chance against him. You guys are nothing in comparison to him right now. So, they are doing a good job at hyping things up, you know, like they did in the original Naruto series. It's just cool to see stuff like this happen. Just small details, small foreshadowments and all that type of stuff. And it just makes for a good episode, a good arc, and it makes for a good series. So, you know, all these little things that I'm discussing really did make the episode great, in my opinion, and this episode definitely deserves at least an 8 out of 10 in my books anyways. If you can't tell, I'm still kind of sick, so sorry about this. I kind of have to end this episode soon, because I have to just go and blow my nose or something, sorry. But yeah, guys, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was great, and let me know what you thought of the episode too. Let me know in the comment section down below, because I would love to know what you guys thought. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out, guys. See you later.
Perfect.